Mark, we've seen big changes within our company. We're now associated with or part of a large Australian group. Did you ever see that happening?
Yeah, I think I did. Funds management businesses tend to grow by acquisition and merger and acquisition activity. And I've always thought that as we positioned our New Zealand business, we'd catch the eye of an Australian big brother, and it's exactly what happened.
Look, I think you and I both have been looking at New Zealand for a while, but we couldn't find anything that was just right. Things were too small or too difficult. So we wanted a business that was a bit like ours, that we could expand our footprint into another country. But if we're going to buy a business, it had to have good operators. And Augusta's really filled that bill. It's a fast-growing company run by two guys that know what they're doing. Plus, I think the New Zealand commercial industrial property markets, I wouldn't say they're undiscovered, but I think there's such a lot of depth for us to expand within.
I'm actually delighted with the association because I actually have been involved in the Australian property market since 1994. And what I like about the investments over there, it provides diversification for our New Zealand investors. New Zealand's a great place to live, but Australia has a larger population base. It's got a larger resource base, which I think medium to long term, it will probably have really strong economic fundamentals, which obviously have a direct impact on any asset values and asset demands. And I think that's incredible for our investors to become more active in that market. They've got a lot more variety of asset classes, which I see coming to New Zealand, but particularly upmarket cool stores, data centres, health centres, etc., which are great investments, and it also helps us look at those opportunities in New Zealand as we grow at a different rate to Australia.
One of the good things is we get on really well with Mark and Bryce and respect their senior team. I've known Mark for over 30 years, and we actually went to school together since we were about 15, 16 years old in Auckland. But look, it's really working as we expected, where Centuria's been able to help sort of supercharge Augusta and help them with some larger opportunities. So it's just been announced that obviously the Visi deal, which is a $180 million industrial deal in Auckland, which is a big deal on either side of the Tasman. I think helping with our balance sheet really gave Bryce and Mark an opportunity to secure that large deal. So I think it's off to a really good start.
That beautifully illustrated just how significant this hookup with Centuria is. It's enabled us to secure our biggest single asset deal ever. We lent heavily on our Australian counterparts to get that deal done because it was an Australian tenant and vendor. So I think right off the bat, a month into the merged entities, and we're already showing investors the benefits that are going to come from it. So I was personally delighted to be able to put that stake in the ground so early, and it illustrated to our staff as well just how exciting the hookup's going to be. And I know already some of them are looking at the sunny weather in the back of the Zoom calls with our Australian mates and seeing the odd spare desk in the office over there and thinking they might do a sabbatical. So there's all those sorts of exciting opportunities that will come from it too.
The other thing that's really good is I think it's becoming clear now. I hope the Augusta investors understand. Some of them are on our share register at Centuria Capital, which is great. But I think they're realising now we're putting Australian and particularly New Zealand property together for New Zealanders domestically. This isn't like some offshore company coming in stealing property. We're actually making more commercial property opportunities available to mum and dad investors in New Zealand, which frankly is how we've built our business.
Yeah, that's right.
So Uncle Bryce, 2020's been an interesting one. Tell me what you see for 2021.
Fun. But what I do see is a strong demand for good property still. Low interest rates, yes, we'll still see them happening, but I do see a little bit of pressure coming on bank margins. And thirdly, I do see people still chasing high yields because of the margin differential, but not actually understanding the risk, and that's something that concerns me, and I know it's something that it probably concerns us as a company, and we're focusing on product that eliminates a substantial part of risk.
Yeah, quality yield.
Yep, and sustainable.
Yeah. The risk point, something that you and I have discussed and I speak to investors a lot about, is trying to understand risk and reward and not be lured by artificially high yields, which is in an environment like the one we're in, people have a tendency to do that. So yeah, more of the same, but also, just because we're ticking over into a new year doesn't mean suddenly we forget that 2020 ever happened. I think expect the unexpected, expect volatility still. So the best way to handle that as an investor is keep your gearing in check and buy quality.
Mark, tourism assets have been important to New Zealand and to Augusta over the last 12, 24 months. What do you see the future and in this exciting area?
Yeah, look, obviously it's been a roller coaster for tourism. We, as you know, are firm believers in the tourism story long term. Yep, we had to pump the brakes a bit thanks to COVID, but I think tourism bounces back really strongly. I think we're already seeing it with domestic tourism in New Zealand. You've got a vaccine now, you've got borders opening shortly. I think this is a real bottom of the cycle opportunity in tourism, and I see it coming back really strongly.
So Jason, it's been 24 years since you left New Zealand. If you could export one thing from God's country to Australia, what would it be?
Look, I think it's definitely family and friends, As I said, I've got most of my family back there. I've got a lot of schoolmates that live around Auckland, that I haven't seen for close to a year, so it'd be great to be close to all of them.
I presume both John and Jason, you wear an All Black jersey to work on the days preceding and any game that is held in Australia. I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
Of course we do. All Black through and through, and I've won a lot of bets on the Bledisloe over the last 18 years.